Life is beautiful like Sea Asia. My entrance was independent, but we major. The challenge that's killing me is to balance humility with my ability to stunt like Lee Major. When I was pissing poor, I had a vision board as my screensaver. I envisioned tours on G4s, mink blazers, hopping out with pink gators, unhinging doors like C4, ringing alarms like tennis saw. P-more. Had the club going up like seesaws. Abroad, we score so much, no need to keep score. Petite broads who eat raw, greet us at customs, teach us the customs and traditions of foreign soil. Royal dignitaries sending emissaries to meet Moors. I know them.
Peace, family. Welcome to another episode on the Ground Railroad Productions. This your host, Brother Rich, aka Black Magic.
Yeah.
With Red Pillar.
Peace to the family.
Red Pillar in Harlem, man. Yo, Red Pillar, we in Harlem, man. These beautiful brownstones.
Prime real estate.
Prime real estate. I think they said it used to be on sale for $1 in Harlem back in the 80s.
They had a program with HUD, and some of the dilapidated abandoned brownstones went for $1. Not all of them, of course. These were some brownstones that needed major work.
Okay. This Dapper Dan situation. Pardon, I shouldn't be eating on. Pardon me, family.
Yes.
You know I love y'all.
Yeah.
To continue with this Dapper Dan conversation, Gucci, not really Dapper Dan, Gucci conversation,
yeah.
But I want to deal with Dapper Dan when he has a brownstone in Harlem.
Yes.
And he's been working, when people think of Gucci, they think of Dapper Dan. Especially if you're from New York in the 80s and the 90s and what he contributed to the hip-hop culture in terms of customizing Gucci.
Ghetto Couture is
Ghetto
what it was
Couture.
labeled. Ghetto Couture.
Ghetto-
He's the godfather of Ghetto Couture.
So with that being said, let me read this. This from Dapper Dan's Instagram. The meeting is over. It's now time for Gucci to announce how they plan to make amends for what they did. We had some of the best minds from the corporate world participating, the experts in inclusivity and accountability, 90% people of color. They made great demands. It's time for Gucci to answer. That is supposed to happen today. Once we have received an answer, I will be announcing a town hall meeting in Harlem for us to talk about how we feel about what they have proposed. Then after that, Dapper Dan posted, we have to learn to earn. What happened to all of the black fashion brands that failed since the 80s? Was it because they didn't get black support? Or was it because they didn't know the business? Do you expect our young black designers to spend 30 plus years mastering fashion by teaching themselves as I did? How do you expect them to compete with the big brands if they don't really know the business? They need jobs and internships within these big brands so that they can learn and then branch out on their own. Many young people think a t-shirt design with the logo is a fashion business, when in reality, the business of fashion is so much broader and more complex than that. I studied my ass off to master this business. Live your dream. Don't let other people's feelings stop you. Take advantage of the chance to learn. All you haters, get out of the way of our young people. Embrace change. For those that want to continue to hate Gucci and boycott, you're entitled to do as you please. But if anyone should be boycotted, it's the brands that won't give our young people an opportunity to learn. And this was following Gucci announcement saying, following the recent unintentional balaclava jumper incident, Gucci announces the first 4 initiatives and long-term plan of actions designed to further embed cultural diversity and awareness in the company. And they went on a long rant about, let me just read the 4 things. Global and regional directors for diversity and inclusion, multicultural design scholarship program, diversity and inclusivity awareness program, global exchange program, a lot of global stuff.
Whole lot of global things.
Talk to me, Red Pill. Dapper Dan's talking, Gucci's talking. You're in the fashion business. We love your clothes here. We want to know why there isn't more black designers. Why don't people? What everybody's asking. I want everybody's saying, Dapper Dan, why the fuck don't you go out and do your own thing? He has his own reasons. We wondered that with Kanye, Red. We said, Ye, why don't you go do your own thing? Ye said, niggas, it ain't that easy. Y'all don't understand the business.
Facts.
Is there something we're not getting on the everyday side that Ye and Dapper Dan understands that we don't understand, my brother Red Pill?
I mean, ultimately, for anybody that's inside of the industry or the inside looking out, you know, any industry, whether it may be film or music, fashion or whatever, of course there are going to be intricacies within those industries that those on the outside looking in have no inkling about. That's not, that, you know, you don't get points for that. That's a no-brainer. It's almost like in anybody's position, whether you're in corporate, whether you're blue collar, white collar, whatever, you law enforcement, you might be at goddamn Fat Burger. You know what I'm saying? There's intricacies about how you cook those fries that the average customer has no idea about. So a lot of these conversations are talking to consumers. These are consumer conversations, meaning that they're speaking to the uneducated. They're speaking to people who are basically, you know, they're speaking to workers. This whole thing about inclusiveness, it sounds sexy to niggas that want a job. If you look at Dapper Dan, or if you look at the Dapper Dan response on the Instagram, Gucci responded, and underneath Gucci, outside of the people giving them the middle finger, is niggas asking for jobs. Yo, Gucci, hire my aunt. She's nice with, you know what I'm saying? She's nice with the sewing machine. All of this pandering. In 2019, in the 400-year jubilee of when you Negroes supposed to get out of these shackles. But the great divine speaks through signs, and as we can see, y'all not ready for no kind of freedom whatsoever. You're not ready for ownership. You're not ready to charter your own course. And we've been seeing that since day one. You have no integrity. And I'm talking about
Steve Harvey.
that Harveyism.
What
you know
about
what I'm talking
my
about?
children?
That Harvey talk. Y'all lack integrity. Like Monique said, you lost the integrity chasing this proverbial bag. It's not about the bag. It's not about a job. It's not about sitting at Gucci with a goddamn Gucci tag and calling somebody from Italy your boss and whatnot, so you could now talk down to other designers and try to teach them something. My question is, Gucci been out for about hundreds of years. Why haven't the black designers who have been rotating throughout the industry, why haven't they taught their people inside of Harlem, inside of Watts, inside of Atlanta, inside of Texas, in all of the places where we're at? What you mean to tell me that it takes them to come out with a blackface sweater for you niggas to say that we need to teach our people how to cut and sew? So how is it that, let me read Dapper Dan's initial statement, right? This is his initial statement when it went down. Dapper Dan's initial statement: I am a black man before I am a brand. Another fashion house has gotten it outrageously wrong. There is no excuse nor apology that can erase this kind of There is no excuse nor apology that can erase this kind of insult. The CEO of Gucci has agreed to come from Italy to Harlem this week to meet with me, along with members of the community and other industry leaders. What are their names? Notice he didn't say their names. Who are these mysterious leaders and members of the community? There cannot be inclusivity without accountability. I will hold everyone accountable. So how does that statement turn into the statement that he released today, where he didn't say anything negative about Gucci? He said, for the haters that are banging on Gucci, you do you. Move out of the way for the young people, right? And all of this other shit. How does that turn into you taking shots at everybody else but Gucci? Where did that come from? So now Dapper Dan, who's getting a check from, basically they keep his lights on. He's an employee of Gucci. He's not Dapper Dan in the basement anymore. He's Dapper Dan, the employee of Gucci. So I would understand why he would cape for them. I would understand why Steve Harvey is going to cape for the industry. Because that's the people who keeps the light. He said, if I fail, Lori Harvey crumbles. And the way she moving, she not gonna crumble if you crumble, Steve. But he's like, yo, if I crumble, Lori crumbles, and the rest of the Harveys and whatnot. Nah, fam. Fuck it. That's step and fetch it talk. It's 2019, and you niggas are still trying to be decorated employees. And that has got to stop. Stop dangling carrots in front of people who don't got nothing. Okay? The culture, at the end of the day, are the customers who are the lifeline of these quote-unquote luxury brands that the rappers co-signed. The rappers made these brands what they are. Gucci wasn't coming out, and Louis, they wasn't coming out with commercials to pander to hood niggas who that was eating syrup sandwiches and trying to make a way. No. The rappers were the ones that said this is hot and this is what's not. So it's the rapper's duty to say stop wearing that shit. And it's the rapper's duty to say what is hot. Because they are what is known as the influencers. They're the ones that got you running around. You didn't know what Michael Kors was. You didn't know what Cavassier was. You didn't know what Versace. You niggas was saying Versace. You didn't even know how to pronounce these brands. It's the rappers called the influencers that put these brands in power. So they don't receive anything from these brands but a free box of clothes every now and then. And nobody, until there's controversy, is saying, yo, why don't y'all come into the hood and teach these ghetto youth or these poor children or these people, these women that are out here selling box to get a fucking Gucci bag? Why don't you come and teach them how to get into the, because that's not how the game works. So stop with this, stop with that. That's not how the game works. We know that it's a hierarchy. We know that it's a pyramid. We know that it's not, they're not throwing no favors around. The fashion industry, especially what is known as the couture industry, is a multi-billion-dollar industry. They're not giving up, they're not opening no doors, they're not giving up no secrets, and they're not rolling out any red carpets for nobody who's not a part of their inner circle. You understand what I'm saying to you? With all of the graduates of melanin that we have coming out of FIT, all of these fashion houses, all of these fashion institutes, you mean to tell me none of them could teach the hood? We gotta wait for some old wrinkled people from Italy and sit around and hope that they, recognize our talent to teach? No, family, no. No, that's not woke of you. There's no wokeness in that. Hell to the nah.
Tell me about, somebody in my comment section talked about Macy's dropping the value of all these brands. And you said Russell Simmons had a statement as well one time.
Russell Simmons made a statement, I believe, in his book. And he explained explicitly what happened to the urban brands after they got picked up by the major department stores. At the end of the day, keep in mind, the major department stores have agendas as well. So the major department stores picked up the 10 hottest urban brands back in the quote-unquote late 90s, early 2000s. Fat Farm, Rockaware, Sean John, exclusive sections and whatnot. Then what did they begin doing? After a while, they began slashing prices on said brands, right? They began to slash the prices on the brands and began to devalue the brands by putting them on, like they were on permanent sale and whatnot. So Russell Simmons described and outlined how the department stores came through and tanked the brands. They tanked the brands. And after tanking the brands, because the way that it works is if nobody is reordered, if the department stores don't reorder a certain amount of your articles of clothing and things of that nature, then you begin to owe your investors and other people that you are basically lending from. So a lot of the urban brands were forced to sell. The reason why you may see the brands in Ross, shout out to Professor Griff, the reason why you may see the brands in Target, the reason why you may see the brands in Walmart is because when they sell these brands to these Usually they were like Russian, Jewish-owned conglomerates and whatnot. They were scooping up these brands and then dumping them into these quote-unquote, discount stores and whatnot, and then they lose their exclusivity. Fubu was sold, Fat Farm was sold, Rockaway was sold, all of these brands were sold, and whoever bought them had no intention of elevating and holding up the brand identity of said brand. And you got to keep in mind the projection, the way that the hip hop, like I said, that dictates fashion, the route that it was taken. In the 90s, it began to do what? It began to embrace Japanese denim, Evisu. I don't know if y'all was dripping all the way back then and getting fly, but if you was in fashion, you know what I'm talking about. They began to embrace Red Monkey. They began to embrace Evisu. They began to embrace Bapesters. So they were moving towards couture at that time. They were moving out of urban into ghetto or urban couture, and then urban couture took them into other places when Kanye West came with that, when he reintroduced the whole Louis Vuitton thing with the Louis Vuitton. He mixed polo with high fashion. And after that, that was a wave. And when that wave started, people began to bring those brands like Louis and Gucci and shit like that back, and even polo and whatnot. And then people began to go in that direction. But the hood got a little, they did the Sean John Baggy and all of that. But like I said, when you got into Bapester, when you got into Red Monkey, when you got into all of those, when you got into Trues and whatnot, we're talking about couture, cut and sew, fitted. Going back to, if anybody, like I said, has any history, you know about bespoke, right? We're in Harlem, the home of the bespoke. When you look at them pictures of Garvey and the Black Legion, when you look at the pictures of Malcolm and whatnot in the Nation, the reason why their suits fit the way that it did and it sat on them the way that they did is because they were in couture. That's called bespoke, cut and sew. The difference that you have between what we do, I don't do cut and sew as of yet. Cut and sew is basically cutting the fabric, having the patterns drawn out, cutting it, and then sewing it together. That's cut and sew. That gets you into the realm of couture, meaning the shit is well fitted, right? Fine fabrics like silks and things of that nature, and all of that stuff that you could find in the city. Like I said, the brothers and sisters who have gone through the fashion institutes and whatnot, you know what I'm talking about. But Dapper Dan can't negate the impact of a Karl Kani. Dapper Dan cannot negate the impact of a Willie's Wear. Dapper Dan cannot negate the impact of April Walker and Walker Wear and all of these brands that came out and was doing their thing and breaking down doors in urban fashion in the 80s. In the 80s. There's a dude in Paris. What is his name? I think it's something Henry. Let me look at my notes. He was a homosexual and whatnot. He died of AIDS. Willie Ware died of AIDS. This dude was putting Patrick Kelly. Okay? He was accepted into a prestigious the chamber of the syndicate. You know what I mean? I don't know how to pronounce French and whatnot, but it's the French ready-to-wear industry. You know what I'm talking about? He was putting blackface on his shirts and watermelons all the way back then in the 80s. All right? Patrick Kelly. Go and look him up. He was a legend. You know what I'm talking about? And he died of AIDS and whatnot. Willie's Wear. You know what I'm saying? Willie was a legend. His sister married, I think, Robert De Niro and whatnot. Tuki Walk. I forgot her name. But anyway, these are legends of the industry, okay? And they're not being recognized. Dapper Dan could have did a great job if he mentioned the top 10 urban designers for somebody who says that all of that tough talking that he did in his first tweet. You know what I'm talking about? Why don't you highlight some of the designers that are out here, because you're not the only one, babe, bro. You the godfather and you get your respect and whatnot, but you're not the only one out here making moves.
Well, some of the people out here, you know, so the people know. We outside of Haberdashery, and this is a place Dapper Dan frequents. Haberdashery.
Haberdashery.
Yeah.
The dude billionaire.
Billionaire. 5,001 flavors.
5,001 flavors. Sugar Shea with exclusive game. Luca Brasi with LS Collection. You know what I'm saying? Ra Omar, like I mentioned before, with his whole comedic couture line. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There are there's a whole bunch of people that I've been seeing on Instagram popping up, doing their things that the rappers are embracing. You know, they got footwear, Nagash, you know, Nagast and whatnot out of Atlanta. So you got the brothers out of Detroit, Nagast, with their footwear. You got some legends that are out here. And what I'm saying is, they not, I'm not, you know, this is me personally. I'm not sitting in no room with no Italians in 2019. You could kiss my ass. I'm not sitting around waiting for no Italians to throw no fucking peanuts at me, pardon the French, pardon my Moorish Latin. I'm not waiting for that. Y'all can sit around and wait for that and play that game all you want. And you know, and throw and basically the minds of the impressionable youth. You know what I mean? You're out here casting spells on the minds of impressionable youth. Once again, you're out here putting people under this spell of inclusivity and all of that. If you read the Gucci statement, they spitting you Negroes. They're not saying nothing that's gonna help nobody in Black America or what y'all call African ADOS. They're not talking about y'all. They talking about setting up shops in New Delhi, India. They talking about setting up shops in all kind of other places with POC, people of color. And like we've been seeing, what the brother Tariq Nasheed has been doing a good job of, and the Black Authority and all of them, they've been highlighting and showing you when it comes to this code word or this word called inclusivity, that has nothing to, you're not getting anything from that. That's how y'all got rock with civil rights. That's how y'all got rock with, what's the shit that got black people their jobs and whatnot? Affirmative action and equal opportunity. You're getting rocked. You're getting rocked to sleep. So, once again, an uninformed consumer is an op. You know what I'm talking about? You're only a customer in the presence of hustlers. So these people are they billionaires, and they're doing everything that they could do on paper to protect their bottom line. But at the end of the day, you got nothing out of that meeting. Not a goddamn thing. Okay? Not a thing. So it's about ownership, and I stand on that. And if you're not talking about ownership, you sound like Charlie Brown's teachers and their mom and all of them. I don't want to hear nothing that you got to say. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of time because it's a dangling carrot at the end of the day. We make the clothes. We make the trends. We make what's hot out of our mouths. It comes out of the mouth of the rappers and the influencers. Nigga, Willie Nelson and Bruce Springsteen are not telling you what to wear. The Backstreet Boys didn't tell you how to drip. These are the rappers that are telling you. You know what I'm talking about? They're dictating multi-billion-dollar companies. They're pushing the bottom line.
So Red,
Hold on.
Yeah.
And Europeans get it. They listen to the music and buy the stocks. What do as customers? You listen to the music and you buy the product. That's two different, that's a whole nother conversation. That's apples and oranges. Europeans listen to the music. What did they say? They said, Montclair, look, let me go get some Montclair stocks. What these niggas talking about? Nikes? Let me go get some Nike stocks. Oh, they said Moet, Hennessy? You know, that's a whole company. They got the, what's the whole company? LHVV or whatever? They buy stocks in that all of the time because they know the minute the rappers talk about it, the stocks are gonna shoot through the roof. Learn the game.
I want to use a specific example. People be like, Rich, you said Pacific, nigga.
New word.
So, we're talking about this trick bag, this civil rights trick that they pull on us where we think we're getting rights. By the time we look up, you know, shout out to Tariq Nasheed, Claude Anderson,
yeah.
Tone Talks, Yvette, Carnell, all of them. By the time we look up, everybody benefits but the people that have a constitutional relationship with this country.
Everybody.
So with that being said, one of the things Gucci said is a multicultural design scholarship program. So talk to us in real time, my brother Red Pill. When you hear the term multicultural, how is that a all right, so this problem is an American nigga problem. Blackface.
Blackface.
This ain't got nothing to do with no other culture.
I don't
Nobody
see
else.
blackface in the Caribbean. I don't see blackface in Africa. I don't see blackface in Pakistan. I don't see blackface in Puerto Rico.
So this is an American nigga problem right here. Blackface.
That's right.
And they're talking about multicultural design scholarship program. Explain to me how that's a trick, my brother. With what you basically just said. And what the go ahead.
The whole multicultural thing, that's you know what I'm saying? That's all code word. That's the, understand the lexicon. Multicultural. That's a white, you know what I mean? That's Charlize. Nigga, that's Charlize Theron. That's Charlize Theron. That's an African. I'm multicultural. I'm African. She's born in South Africa. She could claim ancestry from Africa. Multicultural, multi this, multi that. When there's one situation, we talking about one people that we need to address. Where does the multi come in? How did this shit become? How did y'all set the table for everybody to eat when they went ahead and smacked the goddamn cook up? They smacked and spit on the butler, and when they resolved the issue, everybody's sitting at the table eating with us. No. Going back to no. Are they saying cancel Gucci? Did the people in Nollywood? Did the people in New Delhi slam Gucci?
They don't give a fuck. They don't give a flying fuck.
Is the senator from New York?
They gonna get some jobs though.
They gonna get them some jobs. You know what I mean? They gonna come up with the Punjabi line. Put it like this. You know what I'm saying? It's a spin. It's a spin. And an uneducated consumer is a op for everybody. You just sweet. You know what I'm saying? Sweet like bear meat. And they're gonna take advantage of you because of your ignorance. If you was wise, you would shut that shit down from the gate. Wait, what? Multi what? Listen, we're talking about African descendants of, I don't know, everybody want no slave. Shout out to Dane Calloway. You know what I'm talking about? Everybody want no slave. African descendants of kings. American descendants of kings. American descendants of prisoners of war. What does that got to do with any kind of multicultural thing? What do they do? No offense, but we're not talking about them right now. Y'all throwing out these blanket terms when we need to address the 800-pound gorilla in the room. And it's when Prada put that what do they call it? A mark? What do they? It's a term that they use. When they put that monkey on their bag, they were talking about black people in America. When Montclair put those monkey faces, when they put those faces and whatnot, it was a face of death. They had the sad face and whatnot. When they put those on the jacket, that was talking about the descendant of slaves. That's Jim Crowisms. When they was dealing with Gucci with the black lips and the black face, that's Jim Crowism. That's talking about what was going on on this land. Stop trying to put us in this gumbo pot, because that's not the conversation. If you want to talk about multiculturalism, we could do that on Tuesday, but on Monday we're going to talk about us. That's a fact. That is a fact. So let's stop letting them people spin us, bro.
Pull that trick on us, huh?
Yeah, that's trick knowledge. That's that forked tongue trick knowledge. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And people are so all-inclusive these days, and I want everybody to sit at the table with us and all of that. You ain't tired of serving everybody. You ain't tired of serving everybody your whole life. You don't want the table for yourself for once. So people are like, what does this Gucci thing have to do with what we got it going on? Nigga, it was a temperature test, you know what I'm saying, to see where you Negroes are 400 years later. You know what I'm saying? Because it has so many different aspects of it. The aspect of our people not being able to stay on code when there's one that breaks off on a monkey shit and does some real corny, you know, goofy shit. The fact that, you know, at the end of the day, we're not talking about ownership. We're still talking about getting a job. They clapping and happy about getting a job. What has getting a job saved Harlem from being taken from us? Has getting a job stopped you niggas from moving one iota on a goddamn scale? Like Claude Anderson said, you're fourth class citizens. You're still at the bottom and you haven't moved 1%. And everybody got a job post civil rights. But where's your silver rights? You know what I'm talking about? Where's your human right? Where's your right to be a boss? Where's your right to coexist as a boss?
Close it out, my brother.
Look, at the end of the day, like I said, you know, so many things are going on this whole year. From the beginning of the year, it's speaking about our integrity. It's speaking about our character. From the R. Kelly thing, right? You niggas' characters and your integrity was tested to see if you would protect these babies. You know what I'm talking about? Your character and your integrity is being tested to see if you will hold one of your own accountable for being a piece of shit. This Steve Harvey thing with him and Monique talking about don't worry about the poor people. And she had to G-check him and say nah, and talking about it's a money game. Nigga, please. Don't try to, you acting like you dropping some shit that niggas don't know about. No, the money game, it ain't working for us. The shit that they ushered in with Puffy, with it's all about the Benjamins and all of that, that whole bad boy era that we still under that spell, it hasn't worked for us. We lost the integrity. We lost, our characters are flawed as a result of that. We don't stand for shit. We don't have a value system. We don't have a moral compass anymore. Okay? And you're not going to prosper. You're not going to go far. You niggas are just going to be slaves with jobs. But you don't stand for nothing. So people who are wiser than you, more cunning than you, who study you and understand your plight, they're going to continue to spin you in circles because you sweet like bear meat. They're going to let you have your outrage, but you're going to still come, you're still going to pull up because you're not thinking like owners. You're not thinking like a boss. So there's only one other way to think, and that's like a consumer, a customer, with your hands out. So at the end of the day, the conversation is going to continue to be had throughout this whole calendar year. I'm just helping you with the perspective and with the narrative so you know what you're looking at when it keeps popping its head up, because nobody is approaching it with the right kind of answers. Yeah, if you start your own thing, it's going to be rough in the beginning. Yeah, you might not be able to be coddled by these brands and whatnot, but who the hell cares? Because at the end of the day, what do you have if they outrightly disrespect you in your face and don't even make, you know what I mean? Like, what do you have? What do you have to stand on? If somebody could just outwardly just call you a monkey like H&M, you know what I'm saying? Do all of these things, Louis Vuitton, Prada, Montclair, you know what I mean? And the funny part about it is this. Black man and black woman, what do they call American descendant of slaves? Like Blue Pill pointed it out. There's no industry in America that you can claim more than cotton. There's no industry in America that you have claim over. You did not build the skyscrapers. You did not build the railroads. You're not really responsible for that. What you can stand on and what you could claim ownership of and what you could take back is the fact that your ancestors picked a whole lot of cotton. They call it big cotton, and it made billionaires and trillionaires in this industrial revolution that took place in America. Your ancestors also were responsible for the sugar cane, the rum, you know, the tobacco and shit like that, but definitely cotton. So for people to say, you know, oh, we got to go to school and we got to learn to earn and whatnot. Yeah, my thing is this.
Dapper Dan said that.
Dapper Dan said that. My thing to Dapper Dan would be, fam, you need to learn who the fuck you are. If you talk about learning to earn, learn who those Italians who own Gucci are. Learn who taught the Italians. Learn about Blackbird. Learn about how the Moors came. Learn about all of that fine luxury leather, all of that shit that Gucci is charging a high price for. Learn where that shit comes from. Learn where they source the material. Learn where they source the patterns. Learn about the West African, because I think he had West Africans working with him in that basement. Learn about that. Learn about going into Pakistan and other places to get, or learn how to go to China and go into them factories that Prada and Gucci and all of these luxury brands are utilizing for their cut and sew. Learn about that. Why don't you teach the people about that part?
One thing that Africa has always used in their design
Peace. All right.
Well, I'll be seeing
Peace.
you on there.
Exactly, King.
is
No
peace,
doubt.
brother. How you doing? All right.
Yes, sir.
Is the sacred geometry.
So now I know what you look like.
Yes, sir. Yeah, you do. Yes,
Yeah.
sir. So the sacred geometry that we see in the kente cloth, in the
Yeah.
African clothing,
Patterns.
the patterns,
Yes. The mathematical.
the mathematical designs
Yes, sir.
of Africa.
Yes,
We
sir.
see that in all these European designs.
Yes, sir.
This is something that's innate within us, that's in our DNA.
That's right.
That, you know, we don't have to learn to earn, it's in us. They have to learn to earn.
That's right.
So he's telling us to learn. They have to learn to earn. They have to go to Africa. They have to come to us to figure out these sacred shapes, these sacred designs.
Yes, sir.
Could you elaborate on that, my brother?
There's an intricate relationship between these top fashion houses and the rest of the quote-unquote developed world, right? Like India, like Africa, places where, like South America, these are places where designers go to get inspiration. These are certain cottons, like Egyptian cotton, the silk, and all of these things, all of these fine fabrics. You could go back into history, the silk trade, the Silk Road. You understand? The fact that purple was a color of royalty because of the silkworm. All of these things, if you want to talk about learning in order to earn, there were people all in the comments, and they were like, yo, when I went to fashion school, they don't teach me anything about the history of fashion. That's right, the Moors. They don't, these people, these fashion students who pledge allegiance to Rome, they don't know, or pledge allegiance to France, they have no historical reference about where that came from. They only start them at the Renaissance period. They don't know that the Renaissance period was ushered in as a result of the defeat of the Moors, and that's where the Renaissance came from. So when you don't instill in the people some kind of cultural pride, when you don't instill inside of the people the motifs of said cultures that are the foundation of high couture, because we was high couture in the 1300s, in the 1200s, in the 1100s. Talk about it. You feel me? We was coming through with baboons on, my nigga. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Cut and sew? We was doing that in Africa. So when you don't give the people the cultural context of where these high fashion brands are getting their swag from, what are you gonna get? You're gonna get an uninformed designer with a broken wrist who just gonna be giving it up to Europe all day. You see their designs. They giving you Renaissance photos and all of this, you know what I'm saying, Picasso and whatnot. I just came from the Fine Arts Harlem art show. I went with my father and my son. My father just purchased a $3,000 painting. Why? Because he knows that it's gonna be $10,000 soon. Black art, and art in particular, doesn't depreciate in value. So I didn't see too many young people in there dropping a bag the same way that they in the Gucci store dropping a bag, because they're uninformed. They still running behind Jay-Z when he said Picasso, baby. Niggas is looking for Picasso. What about Romare Burden? You know what I'm saying? You don't even know any black designers. Jacob Lawrence and all that. You don't know black artists. You don't respect the culture in which you come from. So I'm not putting, at the end of the day, Gucci is Gucci, all of these European brands. I'm surprised that you're surprised. They're gonna do what they're gonna do. You, as a black man and woman, you need to be educated about who you are, the richness of who you are, the wealth of your history, that it don't start on a plantation, and not only embrace it, but you need to invest in it, meaning that you need to throw a bag at those who are out here doing the work and putting out cultural masterpieces in your name, and stop giving power and stop giving credibility to people who don't care about you, because you wild goofy in these streets. And like I said, the line is drawn. You could play with it if you want. You could double dutch back and forth with it if you want. We know who the coons are. You know what I'm talking about? We know who don't love themselves and who love other people more than they love themselves. We know this. And like I said before, if I were to even put on some European fashion, I have the knowledge to know. This is my sons right here. You know what I'm talking about? Like, I'm not worshiping them. I'm giving life to their fabrics, because like I said, when we put that shit on, we breathe life into it. It's not the other way around. I never seen no Peckerwood and some Sean John and the shit was swagged out. That's not how it works. When you put them fabrics on, you give life to those fabrics, because you the light body. You know what I'm talking about? That's what happens.
One of the fashion designers, Raul Mon, told me back in the antiquity, when we used to call ourselves light people, that's where, it became white. Light became white. Like these words, like we don't understand how words turn into other words, turn into other words, turn into other words. So before it was a white race, you know how the Moors say we was the original white people? It was really light people. And it became white, like you lose your history, so light becomes white, then white, like it's some deep shit, man. It's deeper than what we could ever imagine, man. But that shit, that more shit that they talk about, from my history, white was really we the light people. But with that being said, my brother,
like look how they dress from ancient Kemet. Look at the patterns. Look at the way they put it down. You got white people running around in burlap suits. You feel me? Loincloth and whatnot. Like, stop playing with us. So, you know what I mean? No offense to the OG and whatnot. Like I said, I respect Dapper Dan as a man. I respect him as a legend. But he's an employee of Gucci, so I'm not looking like I'm not allowing you to be the voice of Black America at the end of the day. No offense to you, fam, but you're not gonna speak for me. You're not speaking for the intellectual contingency of Black. You might be speaking to them niggas that be, you know what I mean? I mean, you got women out here that do anything for Gucci. You got dudes out here like, and Dapper Dan knows this, because he was selling clothes to people who were destroying their neighborhood for decades. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of his customers was drug dealers, dope dealers. So you got people out here that will destroy their own to put on some brands and whatnot. So they not gonna jack this conversation. They not gonna care about no turtleneck with red lips on it. They not caring about blackface because they don't care about black people. They care about blue faces. You understand? They don't give a fuck about a black face because they're in blackface anyway. They're out here cooning anyway. So it don't affect them. They like, oh, Gucci got a black face? Huh. Where is it? How much is it? Because they're out here in blackface anyway. I'm going to be in Vegas, shameless plug, on February 22nd, red and blue pill. the name of the lecture is From Black Faces to Blue Faces. You understand what I'm talking about? We're going to be dealing with that in Vegas next week. So they don't care about their people anyway. So they're going to jack anything that Gucci say because they just want to get back to cooning as it was. They want to get back to business as usual. You feel me? So we not looking towards them. And the rappers, like I said, they are cooning. A lot of them are in blackface, Kodak Black. A lot of them are cooning. So they don't have no. They're not black intelligentsia. They're not known as the foundational black intelligentsia. They're not in intellectual warfare around this world with people that are trying to oppress us. These niggas are coons. So they're gonna run behind anything that they're gonna go against the grain. So miss me with that. And with that being said, love and light to the family. You know what I'm talking about? Kings County Couture coming soon. You already know what it is. Kings County Big Cartel. In the meantime, and I'll holla. Peace.
Peace.
Life is beautiful like Sea Asia. My entrance was independent, but we major. The challenge that's killing me is to balance humility with my ability to stunt like Lee Major. When I was pissing poor, I had a vision board as my screensaver. I envisioned tours on G4s, mink blazers, hopping out with pink gators, unhinging doors like C4, ringing alarms like tennis saw, P-more. Had the club going up like seesaws. Abroad, we score so much, no need to keep score. Petite broads who eat raw, greet us at customs, teach us the customs and traditions of foreign soil. Royal dignitaries sending emissaries to meet Moors.